today's guests, we have Casey and Kinahoi. I actually met Casey in a bit of a funny way. It was a typical girls talking together in the ladies' bathroom together and making friendships. And I came to learn that she, with her business partners, there's three of you all up?
Three of us all up. Nate is the one.
Have a not-for-profit called Neverfold Collective. And on your website, your catch is never give up, never give in, never fold, which I love. And I would love to know more about what it is and what it does for the community, and also how you came to, decide to start this up together. How do you decide on that?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So basically, I was working for another organisation. I'll explain how it came about, and then I'll explain more what we do. And I was specialising in drug and alcohol addiction for youth. And a lot of the time when the young people get in some sort of legal trouble, that's when they're kind of pushed to get help. That might be as the alternative to custody. But that was what I was finding, a lot of referrals. And so I kind of wanted something that was different, not just a come along, get lectured, go away, tick a box. I wanted them to come, whilst they were in trouble, I wanted them to come and be motivated and inspired and get something like an enjoyable workshop. So that's when I come across Kina through another connection through Youth Off the Streets to come in and share his story, because he has a lot of lived experience, which I'm sure he'll share parts of today. And that's how we come about. And then fast forward, we did that for about a year-ish. And then I actually was made redundant in my last role, lost the funding for that. And I called up Kina and said, look, I'm thinking of going out on my own. Do you want to keep working together? And he was like, yep, for sure. So we come together, Nate come along, and then we just happened to decide, you know what, let's make this a not-for-profit. We're actively engaged in the community. There's a lot of interest with what we do. And there was a lot of organisations that I worked with back at my old job that was really supportive, and that's how it came about.
Yeah, amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. And what we do, is we mainly specialise in youth and young adults, but we're open to any age. And we basically, our niche is running mental health workshops, programs and events alongside counselling and mentoring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are they able, like people in need of this service, are they able to reach out to you guys directly, or is it through other organisations that they get connected to you, or how do they?
Yeah, there's a few options. So basically people can contact us directly through the website. In the community services social work field, unfortunately, a lot of the people who are in need of services at the most don't have the financial resources to access them. So if sometimes they go through another service, that service can have funding to essentially pay for what we do. But our long-term goal is to go for funding applications, and we then could offer our services for free to the youth or whoever it is that's in need the most.
Yeah. Okay. Incredible. And Kina, do you want to, Casey touched on a little bit of your sort of lived experiences with how you came to be. Do you want to tell a bit more of your story on your side of things and how it came to come about for you?
Yeah. It's a lot. I just try to cut it down as much. Parents are from Tonga. They moved over here. Mum came from a poor family. Dad came from a kind of wealthy family. Mum got married at a young age because they weren't financially stable in Australia. And 11 kids later, Mum decided that maybe this wasn't for her, and decided to get up and leave to go look for her family, because she came from a broken family. And she packed her stuff and moved to America. the rest of us that couldn't get signed stayed with Dad. From us being looked after Dad, he was always at work. So then we turned to the streets and turned to alcohol and drugs to cover up everything that was going on at home. Got in trouble, did a lot of crime. And, Mum decided to come back 14 years later and try get the family back together because everyone was getting locked up one by one. And she said, nah, this is not right. So she moved back. Mum and Dad did try to make things work, and it didn't work. And my sister committed suicide at the time. And, it just fell from there. And after her funeral, I was just going through stuff where I was selling drugs. And I was pretty high in the streets. And no matter what drug or alcohol I took, it couldn't get rid of the pain. And my sister, she always had a vision of me being a good dad to my kid. And she's always wanted me to go fight custody for my son. So then grew the balls to leave the game and pursue fighting custody for my son. So then I went after custody, and the court said to me that I had to move from Sydney away from my family because of the drugs and bikies and have to relocate somewhere out of Sydney. So I moved to Newcastle. I moved here, and then a couple of years it took to get off the drugs and alcohol, and kept fighting custody, and then I got granted custody. And with that little battle and the vision that my sister had, it worked. And it was weird because the day I got custody, my mate called me and said, "Oh, do you want to come do bodyguard work?" And I said, "No, I'm going to Brisbane." I went to Brisbane, turned on the TV, he had been shot. And I just looked at it and I was like, imagine if I took that route. So then I knew it was meant to be with my son. And then, got into work and decided to build a business in memory of my sister. And it was a 1-year anniversary, and my family decided to go to King's Cross after her unveiling, and we went to celebrate. A fight broke out. Then my brothers ended up bashing the cops. It was all over the social media, all on the news. And I got away that night, and I told myself, I'm done. And I'm done with this life. I'm done with the violence, the cops, the crime, everything. So then I went on a 3 years. I didn't talk to family just to get that point across of no alcohol and stuff like that. And it worked. And in the 3 years, I built the business. And 88 is the year my sister was born. And it started off clothes, went into barbering. We were looking for a shop and for the clothes, and a barber shop came up. And I said, you know what, we'll take this and we'll see where it goes. And because we're not scared to take risks, we just took it. Then it grew, the barber shop grew, and now I've gone into fitness and now into the whole community.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Wow.
So he's got a barber shop in Cardiff and Lambton called 88 Custom, which is, been really special. And then now we've branched into, like you said, the community with Neverfold.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So when you yourself decided, like you said, you moved from Sydney up to Newcastle, and it took 2 years to sort of get away from that lifestyle that you had been embedded in. Did you, during that process, have a strong network of support through that time?
No, it was just my business partner. It was just him and his family. Okay. I had family here in Newcastle, but because I didn't know them, I didn't want to connect.
Okay.
So we knew we were family and stuff with family members around here, but there was no connection. There was no hanging out. We didn't eat at the table. Where my business partner, Nathan, his family took me in. And then from there, meeting and seeing all the family in Newcastle, then started growing a connection with other family members.
Yeah, okay. Amazing.
Yeah. And Nathan is our third partner with this one.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, cool. So he was the one that took you in when you came to Newcastle, sort of less. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I was going to say, like one of the big reasons I started this podcast was in my darkest times, it's been people in life that have been vulnerable or shared their stories that have given me like the guts to keep going or keep pursuing things. And I think even in our darkest times, as long as there's one person like we feel like we can relate to, then I think that's all you need to get through. I think it's when you think you're completely alone and no one else gets it, that's when things can get really scary. So I love that you guys have started this not-for-profit to give people that, I guess, light at the end of the tunnel or glimmer of hope. So I know when I was talking to you, Casey, you guys were working on the website, and I've had a look and it is up. So is it in early days right now, or what's next for you guys at the moment with it?
Yeah, so the website's definitely early days. The work we've been doing, there's a lot of interest. So we always have schools, organisations, juvenile detention centres reaching out. It's just a process now of getting in and establishing those relationships.
It's in the, if I out it today, it'll go up. So Nathan and her, they're, how do you say, they want everything to be perfect before you out it.
Kate, that sounds like me.
Yeah. Where with me, I'm like, just let them do the computer stuff.
Yeah.
I'll do the ground work. So once it gets outed, like I gave everyone a little glimpse on my socials and said, oh, this is a website, but I haven't fully showed them the website.
Okay.
Because I'm waiting for the logo.
She's too busy worried about the profile pic. Yeah, she's worried about the profile pic. I'm like,
I guess the point from that all three of us have a really niche skill set.
Yeah.
So Nate's really good at the behind the scenes paperwork, tax.
Doesn't want to be seen in the spotlight.
Yeah. And then Kinah's really good, the networking, his story, he's out there in the community. And then I guess me, I've got the
brains,
the specialized qualifications and can write the programs. I've got that knowledge with, child protection, confidentiality, all of that kind of stuff. The therapy, the research behind the therapy module. No, what's the word? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Therapy.
She got a lot of words. She's got a lot.
I can throw around all these study words all day, but it doesn't matter. The point is we all have our own
we're really good.
what you bring to the table.
Yeah.
I'll quickly throw this in because it was one thing I heard in a podcast once, and it's always stuck with me for perfectionists, and it's that done is better than perfect. So you can tweak the perfect later, but it's better to hit the ground and be running and fix it up as you go. Otherwise, it never launches. If you're
once you think it's ready, it's not going to be ready.
Yeah. Hey, can I just say that Nate and I...
I'm glad the website, I had nothing. They just showed me yesterday.
Did you even know that we were doing a website?
I didn't know about the website because it's not I'm more word of mouth. I like getting out there. Yeah, let's do this, let's do that, let's do that. These guys are more by the books.
Yeah.
All right, here, click here, sign here, here.
Yeah.
It's good. But I was like, I'm not dealing with that right now.
Yeah. I probably need a Casey and a Nate in my business doing my behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's good. I only found out yesterday and I was like, I'm glad they didn't tell me. I'm really glad. They would have been fighting about which photo. You reckon this photo or no? What about this photo? So, but
it brings balance to the team.
Like me rocking up today to a house and I was on the phone. We have a basketball event this afternoon. I run Wednesday night basketball for the kids. Growing up, we had youth off the streets. And if you're looking for a place to hang out with other kids who are like you, this was the spot. So instead of going back home to your drunk parents or abusive parents, you could come hang out with us for a couple of hours, safe place. And so I thought I'll recreate it and do it with a little bit of a mix. And Wednesday's basketball. And last week I caught someone at the barbershop. He seen what we're doing and said, "Hey, I've got a warehouse and it's a basketball warehouse. Do you want to bring the kids over?" And I said, "Well, thank fuck that you said this, because now I can bring the kids. As long as it's a safe place, and all the NDIS kids, they can come here. I'm not doing it for the money.
It's free.
Yeah, it's like they come, if they get business for this business, that's on you. But if you give me a space for the kids, then my job is done." So that's Mondays. If we've changed from Wednesday to Monday. And then on Wednesday, what I was talking with a guy this morning was OzTag will be on the Wednesday. And it gives them different options. And then boxing's on Friday night. So there's ways that there's things that I do now to get off the drugs and alcohol. And the weekend, if you have a time that's early in the morning and late on Friday, then you have to go to sleep early, wake up early, and the party's finished. So, basketball Monday, Wednesday, OzTag, and then Friday boxing. No kid can say to me that, "Oh, there's no events. There's nothing out there for us." So it's all stressful now, but I look at it, I'd rather do what I'm doing than what they're doing. So I'll find it will be hard for me if I was to sit there in front of a computer.
Your skill set is obviously being with them, and especially having lived it yourself and knowing exactly what they're going through or how they're feeling. I think that's huge for them to have someone to look up to and see where they can take their life. It doesn't have to end the way a lot of lives do. And when you guys were saying, you were talking about taking it into schools, and you've got schools and organizations reaching out, is that easy to start, or is there like a lot of paperwork and politics to go through to get that?
There's quite a few hoops to jump through. So one, for example, is Kinahoi's working with Children Check. So because he's done time and, that's on the record, it's taken 2 years already. So we have to, schools have got to be willing, like they're allowed to sign off whilst they have the in-between waiting time. So he's got the paperwork that says it's been applied for and everything. A lot of people have gotten in and rallied to child protection to get this done, because it's ridiculous. You shouldn't have to wait this long. So my point is, that's the first thing. Secondly, whoever's interested, say it's a wellbeing teacher or whoever, they've then got to go through their process, principal, apply for whatever they need to apply for, check their budget. Same with organisations. So it is a process to get in, but I know that once we're in, then everything's set up, ready to be rebooked.
But it's weird because all the behaviour schools, they're like, "We need you now." They don't do this check, They do a light check, but they're like, "We need you now." But the other high schools, they're like, some are by the books, and then some are like, "You need to step in now," because there's nothing for the kids.
So is there anything the community around can do to help you guys and support in speeding up the process of having you step in sooner with these?
See, Nate would know this.
That's
that's a Nate question.
I think we've what we're doing is
word of mouth definitely helps.
That will go off, and with a lot of the kids that we've worked with in the past. So with the programs that we've done in the past, Casey's has asked, could we give something back to the kids? And we've had a little gift card where the kids who do the program to the end, they get to go to the barbershop, either get a free haircut, free shirt, or a free mentoring or a free gym class.
Yeah.
But they have a pick. And a lot of the kids, they come, they get their haircut, we build a relationship. Then we start talking about, okay, what are your future plans? Are we going to do better? 6 out of the 10, they change, but the other 4 will stay in the cycle.
Yeah, right.
So it does work. A lot of the kids that do come to our barbershop is because we can relate to them. They'll be happy to sit there 2 hours knowing that we can bond through our struggles, if that makes sense.
Mm.
So,
as far as speeding up the process, again, Nate would know more, but I think it's just getting our presence more known. And
while they wait for their profile pic.
Maybe even, Casey, if after this you speak to Nate about that and ask him, and if there is something that we can do like in the community, let me know and I can attach it in the description of about this podcast.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, cool. So what is next with all the paperwork and the hoops that you have to jump through? What is the next thing for you guys with this?
There's a lot of things going on at once behind the scenes.
They're doing a lot of hiding, but I'm out here.
Yeah.
I'm out here. So Tuesday I do what's it called? Central's under 19s footy club.
Yeah. And so if people want to come to this, like, how do they do that?
I think what's good here is to distinguish what Kinah's talking about to this other stuff. So, one, we've got the programs, workshops, and events, which I can go through in detail soon. The second thing is we've got mentoring and counselling. The third thing, which is what Kinah's referring to, is community engagement. That's all up and running, all good. That's the Monday nights, the boxing. That's all out there happening right now.
Okay, cool.
So that's what he's referring to. In regards to the other stuff, so we've got, I believe, 8 programs and workshops, 5 of which I have written myself and designed. So the first one is called Never Fold. This program is for those struggling with substance use. So they're already in addiction. They're probably starting to get in trouble with the law. That's that one. So we provide, some education, Kinah's story, a whole bunch of goal setting, things like that. One part of that is for those kids already actively in addiction. The other part is early intervention, which is going into the schools and providing the education to prevent them ending up with addiction issues down the track. Yeah. So that's the first one, Never Fold. The second one is Fears, which is an anger management one, because the schools all want anger management. I actually don't like calling it anger management. It just seems what everyone understands. But we teach them what anger is actually trying to tell you and then what to do with it, etc. The other one is Shine. It's a self-esteem program for young girls. It's awesome. I've been doing that for quite a long time. The male version of that is called Strength. I don't personally run that. I'll leave that to the guys. Another one is called Mirror Me, which I actually need to train him in it. Mirror Me, which is all about body image for girls, social media management, core beliefs, because we live in a world that's heavily focused on image now, and we got to kind of teach the girls how to self-reflect, how to not put all of their value in an Instagram or a TikTok or whatever that may be. And I have girls come in and share who are social media influencers and share that, behind the scenes, it doesn't always look like this. So I've got a few partners there that are awesome. The In Sync, that's actually, it's something I'm actually really excited about, funnily enough. I've paired up with a friend who's a nutritionist to teach girls or women all about how their hormones work. which I'm in my 30s, and I feel like I've only just started getting a grasp on this. So we go through and teach about, your cycle, the different and how you compare, match up your lifestyle and your goals with whatever cycle you're in, whatever phase of your cycle you're in at the moment. And then another one, I think the last one, if I've gone through them all correctly, is an event for girls and women who have experienced some form of trauma in the past. So we have a lot of those programs, and that's where the schools are booking and the juvies booking. They're booking those programs. And then obviously you've got the follow-up mentoring counselling. So a lot of places go in, run something and leave, whereas we've got the option for these follow-up, whether that be counselling and mentoring or going along to these community engagement things that Kinah's at. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. And the ones with the schools and the juvies, is that something you guys have actually gone in and done yet, or are you still waiting for the tick of approval?
We've gone into the schools. The juvie is...
I've gone.
You've gone, yeah. So from what I'm understanding is they're still doing some paperwork stuff behind the scenes, because there is quite a process to get into that, as you can understand. So that's underway at the moment. Yeah. The key thing for us is going to be getting funding, because once we have funding, once we go, it's for free, then that's not going to be an issue. The issue will be too many people.
Okay, wow. And so say, for example, a parent has a child who they can see is going down the wrong path in life, and I know that there's a lot of people that come, or kids that come from unstable family homes and family dynamics. But what happens if their parents are trying their hardest and they're actually really good parents, but the child's hanging out with the wrong sort of people, the wrong crowd, and is just going down the wrong path that way? And the parent doesn't really know. They're like, what am I meant to do? I thought I did everything I could as a mum or a dad to show them right from wrong. Is this something that they can direct their children towards as well, or do you have to be within the system to access this?
I was just using the system as an example because it's the quite common one. Obviously, we want to get in the earlier the better. So, yes, in short, if there's a parent out there and they're like, yep, this would be a great service for my child, obviously I can refer a lot of different services, but if they're, leaning towards us because of our kind of flavour, for lack of a better word, they go to the website and chuck in the inquiry, give us a little bit of a brief rundown of what's going on, and we can direct whether, mentoring, counselling, Kinah or I would be better suited and go from there. But again, it comes down to funding. So if there are people that can, pay it, then that's great. But once we get funding, we don't have to go, this is going to charge you. We can just go, this is yours for free.
I've been doing it these couple of years with parents bringing their kids into the barbershop. And I haven't been getting paid. I've just been doing it out of the heart, where with Casey and Nathan, having them on the team is like, no, you need to get paid. You can't keep doing this out of your heart. And I'm like, all right. But I'm seeing it now. And, it's like you said, if we get the funding, everything can get covered. But, the earlier the better for the kids. But, it's weird.
Have you guys started that process of the funding?
We have started the connection. So a lady that used to work for the Newcastle Perm Charity Foundation has said if we ever need help to reach out to her. We're going to sign up to a database that lists all the funding available. It is quite a lot of paperwork, which is fine. But if anyone wants to help with that, we do have a couple of volunteer positions, and one is particularly is with funding applications, because they're a whole nother ball game. But we have the interest there, definitely. Yeah, people will ask us, how can we support you? So the whole thing with Kinah, I guess, because I've been in the social work field since I was 17. So I've been out a long time. I've personally gone through burnout, and I used to do I'll do this for free. Yep, I'll go stay the extra hour so that I can do this. Oh yeah, I'll spend my free time doing this, which led to complete burnout, and your health is just not worth it. So I really had to learn prioritizing my own health, my own self-care, and understanding that it's not selfish to have the boundaries. But that's something I learned through this field, and anyone that's been in the social work field can 100% guarantee that at some point you've got to learn your boundaries, as we all do. So Kina, giving and giving, we're kind of here going, yes, but we need to take care of you first. So that you can continue to do what you're doing.
Yeah. I knew when he was saying it, it wasn't a no, we've got to make money. I knew it wasn't coming from a selfish place, because in like you say, like anyone that, whether they're in that industry or you just get to a certain age in life, you realize like you can't pour from an empty cup. And if you're depleted, like people around me aren't going to get the best of me if I'm running on empty. So it naturally, you guys need to make sure your tanks are full first. And Case, can I jump over to you quickly? Because I asked Kina, but I haven't asked you, what sort of led you down this path? Do you mind me asking? I think when you get into this line of work, you've either experienced heartbreak or something yourself, just to have a big heart and want to give back to others. I just think it makes a special kind of person.
Yeah. So right now, this will actually be the first time sharing a bit of my story in, I reckon, 8 years or something. So.
Are you comfortable doing that?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
No, it's showtime, baby girl. You got to do this.
So I grew up in Housing Commission area in Blacktown. My mum was a single mum and really fought to get us out of that lifestyle. So she really role modeled to me that anything's possible if you're willing to work for it. I went through the classic teenage period of contemplating suicide, self-harm. My whole value was in, what boys were interested, what parties were on. I was very unhealthy in regards to a lot of things, but I guess where I was putting my self-esteem. Fast forward a little while down the track, my mum was actually killed in a manslaughter accident when I was 19. So for a period of time, I was kind of getting moved from family to family with a lot of promises that I took to heart of, okay, this will now be finally my family that I get to have, only to kind of process, okay, well, actually, you're not their family. There's a whole lot behind that, but that was a lot of my process. And I actually had a nervous breakdown at about 25, and everything kind of got uprooted. I was a mess, diagnosed with complex PTSD. And from there, it was a lot of rebuilding. So I actually couldn't give for quite a few years, again, from the burnout. And I actually quit everything. Mind you, prior to this, I was on ABC, I was in the newspaper, I was in the magazines with my story, and I just, I had nothing left. I pulled out of everything that I was doing and went to hospitality because when I say I had nothing left, I felt like I couldn't care for anyone. So that was a lot of rebuilding for me. Still, the complex PTSD is still something I live with every day, just learn to manage the different things. And so getting back into the field with my boundaries now, having gone through my own healing rather than just sharing and trying to help before I'd even done that myself, it's a whole new ball game now. So I feel a lot stronger, a lot more sure of myself, but my passion to give people hope where there hasn't been hope is there again. Yeah. And I guess that's why I'm passionate about making sure Kina's taken care of.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, wow. It always fascinates me when, you walk past people on the street and, you'll smile or go, hi, and, you have no idea of what someone's story is behind that smile or what it's taken like to get them to that stage in life. So yeah, hats off to both of you. And I don't know if Nate also has an incredible story. But it takes a lot, and I say this from personal experience, to really rebuild yourself, or for lack of a better, but to crawl across broken glass and feel like you have to basically have a rebirth of your own life and rediscover who you are, or teach yourself this whole new, So wow, to both. Do you guys do public speaking within like yourself and share your story with everyone?
Yeah. Kina does. This is the first time I'm putting myself back out there.
I didn't want to say nothing in case he put it back.
Yeah. So I'm trying to go, okay, now I think I'm ready to share again. We also, he's available, I'm available. And then I also have another person that I partner up with, and we do, I guess, kind of an interview style, and her story is just incredible. With what she's gone through. And then there's one other girl that we also partner with. But yes, in short, we both do speaking.
Yeah, amazing. Because I find, I guess for me personally, I connect a lot through hearing someone else's story. Like you can have teachers or like parents or mentors like sort of tell you everything that is right or the correct thing to say. But for me, the thing that's resonated the most in life is when someone shares their most vulnerable self with me and what they've experienced and been through. And to be like, wow, they made it out the other side, so I can too. Like, I think there's so much power.
And that's what I think that sums up what we're doing. Never fold, never give in. We've come out the other side. You can do it too. Just keep going.
It happened to me yesterday. My apprentice, he asked me, would you want to go to church on Sunday? And I was working with him on Saturday, and I was like, I haven't went to that place in ages cutting hair. And I thought, you don't like it when I'm drinking, and now you're inviting me to church. And I've been 3 months sober. And I said, you know what, I always make time for every other worker. I'll make time for you. He didn't believe me. So Sunday morning, I did a early workout, 3 a.m. At the beach. And we had 4 people turn up for that. And then we had 13 guys for the 5 a.m. Sunday. So that's just showing the boys, like, I do this so then I don't go party and hang out with the wrong crowd. So then I went back home, jumped in the shower, told my son, all right, let's go. I promised Danny this is going to be embarrassed if I don't. So then we jumped in the car, had my coffee, and I was just nervous, and walked up to the church, and I was about to text him and say, we're just going to hang out outside and watch through the door. But a lady said to me, which family invited you? And I said to them, Taylor. So she walked me to Danny's family, and we sat down and we were like, surprise. And when we sat down for the 10 minutes, the lady, the pastor got up and said, does anyone want to get up and talk about their 5 weeks, any trials or anything that's been going on? My heart was like, and I thought, oh crap, is this my calling or what? Yeah. And I said, put my hand up, and everyone in my row were like, and I said, I don't want to live in regret if I don't go up. So I got up, and I told them how the whole month and a half I've been in Sydney, and my cousin passed away. A week after that, my grandma passed away, and then I spent 3 weeks with my dad, who was in the hospital, ready to die. And then he passed, and then I stayed there for another 2 weeks to organize the funeral. And I opened up to everyone and said to everyone, when I asked God for time to spend with him, I got that. But my financial life with work and home, everything was just crashing. And I sat through it all, and I prayed and prayed, and I got through it all. And I said to everyone in the church, as much it was, my world was crumbling, I'm glad to tell everyone in the room that stick solid, go through it, and never give up.
Yeah.
And the lady put her hand on me and she said, "We're going to do a prayer for you." And I said, "Oh, financial prayer?" They all started laughing, and I just said to everyone there was, I'm glad I didn't chase the money. I chose to spend time with Dad.
Yeah.
And now that I'm back to work now, I can chase whatever money, however long I want to work, but at least I'm not living in regret that I didn't get to spend with Dad.
Yeah.
So, and they did a prayer, and I felt good after, because they came to my son and they said to my son, "We love your dad, and we would love for your dad to come to our workshop for men." And I said, "Look at that opportunity just opened up from that." So then, I talked to them, and I didn't give any details. And then the pastor wrote to our Instagram and said, "These are the dates we would like for you to come through so we can have a chat." Yeah. And I was thinking, imagine if I didn't open my big mouth.
100%. Well, I mean, if I didn't open my big mouth to Casey in the bathroom, we wouldn't be this podcast. So it's so important to open up and connect with people. And also, what an absolutely beautiful thing for your son to see and experience. Yeah. His growing up years, this is what he's seeing as now his role model. So I think that's gorgeous. Yeah. When you were talking, I was going to say something, and it has absolutely left my mind. But I guess to summarize it all, guys, and first of all, what's your website? I'll put it in the description of this podcast, but for people to reach out and contact you guys, do you know what it is, Kinahoi?
We're currently not in the works right now because they're waiting for their profile.
We are in the works, actually. It is www.neverfoldcollective.com.au.
Yeah.
Perfect. And
we will do our first post on Instagram once we have our logo. And so if you want to follow us in the meantime, that's Nate's Realm is the logo.
Yeah. Okay. The Instagram was up yesterday.
Did it? Yes, finally set it up yesterday.
And is it Never Fold Collective as well, or?
Yeah.
That's their side.
That's all good.
We're going to share it. Okay. So, other way. So we actually have. I've mentioned briefly a few volunteer positions. One is short-term social media management. 2 is, the help with finding funding and doing the applications. 3 is anyone that wants to help with the actual program. So particularly some of the girls and women's ones. So Shine, a lot you'll see on the website what ones. And there was one other thing. So any yoga or Pilates teachers, because a part of, working with trauma is teaching the body's nervous system to come back down to baseline to feel safe. So we are incorporating things like yoga in that. So there is a bunch of those little areas that people can support us and obviously donations, but we're not at that point yet because we've got to look at how that works.
Profile pic.
The legalities.
I'm hammering you on this profile picture. It better be good.
And do you know why? Because Kinahoi always posts the worst photos of me. So I'm like, right, you have to get permission now.
My feelings when posting, there is no feelings. You get what you get. And you get it now. When you wait, you're going to wait for a while for that perfect.
So when he's talking about the profile picture, he's talking, me, Nate, and Kinah don't have any photos with all three of us. So obviously it would be nice.
So you guys need to do a photo shoot together.
I know. And do you know why we haven't? Because 1, you didn't have eyebrows at one point.
Oh, yeah.
So they got postponed then. And then 2, you went and got a black eye from a boxing match.
Yeah.
So it's actually not on me.
The signs are there. The photo's not meant to be done.
Yeah, exactly.
That was actually, it just came back to me what I was going to ask. One thing I would love to ask both of you is when you're in like a funky headspace or like life feels overwhelming or like I feel myself start to go down a slippery slope and I'm like, oh shit, Heidi, I can feel where we're going here. And I know that I need to like do something to pull my headspace from that Debbie Downer thinking the worst place.
Yep.
So what do you both do or what have you done in your life? Say for someone that's listening to this right now, when it goes up, if they're in that place themselves, what have you guys done to pull yourself out of that headspace?
Yeah, we've probably got quite similar but different strategies. Do you want to go first?
I'll go after you.
Okay. For me, I think there's, I guess, a couple of different avenues. One is I need to make sure I manage my life holistically. So trying to eat well, trying to have a sleep routine. So I actually will have nightmares every second night. So I need to prepare that my sleep is naturally always wrecked in some way. So I make sure I have an earlier bedtime. I make sure I have a routine because once you're lacking sleep, that affects all different parts of your neural pathways. I make sure I allow time for things that mean something to me. So I'm quite adventurous. I like getting out and doing things. So that's my approach in regards to managing, I guess preventing big breakdowns. When I'm in a trigger, so something's occurred and I'm starting to spiral, sometimes I need to just be in it for a bit. But like you said at the very start, having that one key person, for me, it's my best friend. She's the person that understands what it is like to live with different mental health issues. And she's always there for me. So when I'm in a trigger, usually my go-to is her. Obviously you can't always depend on a person to make everything better. So the other things I do is I'm a writer. So I really enjoy writing. I need to get out in nature, get off social media and stop comparing or, whatever it is that, is triggering. So I guess, managing holistically. And then when your triggers come, finding out what works for you. Like I said, writing really works for me and being in nature. Some people that won't work for them. It might be a different strategy. The other thing I would like to throw in is a lot of things, a service that a lot of people don't know about. If they've been a victim of a crime, so sexual abuse, physical abuse, witness of DV, in DV, you are actually entitled to apply for victim services. So a part of that is 22 hours of free counselling or psychology appointments. So that is paid for through the government. So a lot of the time if you've gone through trauma or something where they're struggling with this, we've been a victim of some sort, but we've now got to pay out of our pocket to go get the help that we need. So victim services, if that's you, is one to check out, put in an application, and when you get approved, when and if you get approved, they send you a whole list of the approved counsellors, and you just type in like your suburb or your postcode or whatever it is, and it'll come up all of the available ones that are registered through victim services that you can access for free. So that was a key thing for me, finding out at a certain point in my life.
Yeah. And is it called victim services? Is that what they research? Or?
Yeah. So if you're in Newcastle and you kind of need help navigating that whole side of thing, there's a service called Vocal. So you just type in Vocal Newcastle, call up, and they help you navigate that area of things. If you feel confident, you just just type in victim services New South Wales application, and you'll find through the website it'll say I have to refresh my memory, but something about accessing counselling. And then you go through completing the form. The forms can be quite confronting, but it's worth it to get the outcome. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Okay. And Kinahoi, what about you?
Mine's probably similar, but I like to get up early in the morning and try to be by myself. Mentally, because I'm going to be coming out and it's like a circus. Talking to people is so draining, and a lot of that where like this morning went for a training session. 3 a.m. The reason why I do 3 a.m. because I don't want to see no one. I don't want to see anyone on the road or whatever. And do my training, go for a run, get with nature like how Casey does, and just go for a swim. I've been doing this for 5 years, and I've made friends with the older generation. And the older generation is where I get my moves and combos from. For me to do better, I got to hang around people who lived it.
Yeah.
And I've broken that stigma of Islanders don't need to kick it with older people, and everyone laughing at me, hanging out with the older ones. But where I am now today is because of these convos that I have with these older people at 4:30 in the morning, 5 a.m. in the morning, at the beach, 3 a.m., and hearing their lives change and stuff like that. It heals my mental health. So I've had one mate who I see every day. He does 100 laps, and he came off drugs and alcohol. And the beach is the replacement for his bad habits. And he finishes the beach, goes home, does his work for a couple of hours. He's finished by 10 or 11.
Yeah, wow.
Then he kicks back, sleeps, and does whatever. And he said to me, that's the sacrifice that he chose. And I said to him, I want to live like that. Just a couple of hours in the morning, come see nature. And yeah, I've been doing that. And ever since I've been doing that, my life's been getting better. Opportunities are getting more and more.
Yeah.
So yeah, that, or I talk to friends, and having the right friends and hearing different options. I can go back and sit back at home and be like, okay, this person said that, they said that, I'll go with this.
Yeah.
But I've never done that. I've never talked to anyone and been like, oh, what about this? What about that? I just hold it in, and then if I go into a fight, it all comes out. Where, if I talk to certain people and hear, people's feedback, I can go to boxing, and take my anger out through the boxing. Yeah. And then I'll work on what I'm going to do next. Yeah. So similar to yours. But yeah, alone time is where I'm at peace. And I feel, with doing my religion stuff, praying and, doing family stuff just to humble me back down. So if something triggers, I'll either go back to my roots and go see home to see what's broken, to then remind myself, why am I doing what I'm doing?
Yeah.
So then when I see the struggles at home, then I come back and I'm more hungry. I'm like, now I wanted my plate full and I'm complaining that it's full. No, fuck that. We're going.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Amazing, guys.
Yeah, I like challenges, and you're going to like challenges too.
Like different kinds of challenges. I'm not a 3 a.m. go and work out challenge, but I do enjoy other challenges.
We had 12 people come from Sydney the other morning, and they're from my area and they want to do better in their lives, and they came in and done a calisthenics at 5 a.m. on the Sunday.
Yeah,
and,
wow.
They came all the way from Sydney, and
so they drove up that morning.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I thought, you know what, my dad and everything, I've been off training for a month and a half. I was going to go there to do my training, and when they rocked up, I said, no, this thing here, I'll take you through. And what we're doing now with the podcast and trying to get awareness and that, I end up sitting there talking with them, training about everything that we're doing in the community and how it can help them and how they can remix it and make it their own.
Yeah.
So then we did the workout. They met my friends from here, and I was telling them, like, a friend of mine is a friend of yours. Don't think we're friends. No, let's mix. Let's connect. Let's see what we can do to help each other. If he's ever come up again, we'll go to another gym and we'll do some stuff. And it just really shot off. And the messages that came back from yesterday was, we're coming with a bigger group, 20 people.
Yeah, wow.
2 weeks.
Wow.
So I look at that was glad my big mouth is very active.
Yep.
And I'm actually thinking right on the spot now is perhaps something that we could do is maybe throw a fundraiser where everyone that's wanting to support us, I don't know, network.
Yeah.
Just a thought right now.
Yeah.
If you've got people coming up from Sydney to train, then I think
first step is for her to join the training before doing the fundraiser.
When Casey does a 3 a.m. training class, we will organise a fundraiser.
Then we will do the fundraiser.
Me, we had a deal that you would come to Pilates with me. Once you come to Pilates with me, I will do a 3 a.m. No, I'm not doing 3 a.m. Your 6 a.m. one I'll do.
It's all right. When you see all these bodybuilders coming up, I better not get it.
I'm coming. 3 a.m. class.
You mean the good looking
The Pilates will be there.
I like Pilates and boxing with, but you know,
it's
3 a.m. is another level.
Yeah, it's pretty packed. Our Friday was 30 males.
Yeah, wow.
And that was at a boxing gym at Second Down in Waurzone. And how it started was just building a safe place. And I asked the pro, I've got so many kids asking me, what can we do? What can we do? And I don't have a venue for myself, but I know people. So then I asked the pro, is it all right if I use your gym, get the kids come in for a safe place? Yeah. He gave me the keys and 25 kids rocked up.
Yeah, wow.
And it's just building and building and building. And the options on the weekend is for the party people. I finish on the Friday night at 8, go home, do my content, go to sleep, and then wake up probably 2, and then get ready, go down there. But see, by the time I'm at the ocean bars, everyone's going back home from the party.
Yeah.
So then I'm starting to now work, communicate, talk with others, and build. I've made a friendship on the weekend, and the guy is 21 and he has 5 coffee shops.
Wow.
And
He owns 5 coffee shops. Yeah,
5 coffee shops. And I said, look, if I didn't come here, we would have not had this crossover. And I said, everything happens for a reason, and I'm glad that there's someone that's younger and doing better than me that can motivate me. Yeah. And I said, like your story needs to be outed. So then I told all the guys that I was with, I was like, what about this, bro? What about this, bro? And he was kind of like Casey, like, don't talk to me. And I said, fuck that. Shit like that needs to be aired.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like you think you're better than us. I'm just saying to hear that and to tell others that you didn't have to do drugs or crime to be where you are, and you just have to work hard at a younger age.
Yeah, I think that's incredible for like 10 and 12-year-old kids to be listening to that kind of thing and that become their normal, rather than it be normal that on a Friday night we knock off work and then we drink and then the partying weekend starts and then we go back to work Monday. Like it's so important for these kids to be hungrier for more for themselves, to get themselves out of that just trap that we're in. And
that's what we learn late, and what we're trying to channel now is what we learn late is what we're trying to teach early now.
Yeah.
So if school, I was shit at school and I got expelled year 7, went to year 9, back into lockup juvenile. And I said to the kids now, if you don't like school, get the fuck out of school and go look for a job.
Yeah.
That's it. Plain and simple. Yeah. And, with the kids that I dealt with last week, I was telling the parents, you are also worried about the image of year 12 certificate. Year 12 don't do shit.
No, it doesn't.
So if you, I put a kid on with a mate, he was doing the lawns and he's only 14. And I said, I'd rather you go work knowing that you're bringing something back home with money than you go and try to do crime to make up for the money.
Yeah.
So the kid, he's seen it and he went and told his parents, that Kinahoi guy, he's something else, because now I don't want to work. I want to go back to school. And I said, you fucking learned your lesson, didn't you?
Yeah.
Sometimes the kids they gotta fall in the deep end to know what it's like and be like, that's not me. I'm not a worker.
Yeah.
Instead of saying to them, oh, we'll give you suspension, and no, fuck that. Put them into work.
Yeah.
Put them in the hard yards. Instead of them doing the long way and then they get locked up and then it's like there was no help in between.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So
yeah, 100%. It's like they say, you can't put an old head on young shoulders. And I think, yeah, we can't teach them. They have to firsthand experience it. So that was a perfect way to show him quickly, okay, yeah, I'll go back to school. His work isn't all it's cracked up to me.
He didn't like the whole, go do this, go do that. He didn't like taking orders. And I said to him, well, you either take orders in here or you take orders in jail.
Yeah.
So either one you pick. So he's changed, then that's only a couple of days.
Yeah.
But it's hard because you say if my mate wasn't working that week, who does the kid go to?
Yeah.
And that's where we're stuck with finance. Like, it's only lucky that I don't tell these guys that the kid reached out and that, because then they'll be like, where's the funds?
Yeah.
Where I'm like, no, go work over here.
Yeah.
It would be good if, there was some type of system that, the kids came and they went over here.
Yeah.
But,
Well, it sounds like you guys are working on that, which is amazing.
Yeah, we are.
They're working on that and on the profile pic.
You had to put it in one last
I have one more.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for joining me today. It's been incredible speaking to you both and learning about your not-for-profit, Never Fold Collective. I will put all the information in the description about how people can reach out to you and look you guys up and, find out where your events and keynotes and all of that are. But thank you so much for your time.
You can either come out to the workout on the weekend or come out. I start at World Gym in 29 days, Lambton.
Okay, cool.
So building a community out there, and the gym has allowed me to be a part of it. And I'm offering you to come to a workout there since you don't want to be out with the vampires.
We'll do a 6 a.m. one, Case, not a 3.
So it'll be good for you to come out and see for yourself.
Yeah,
you're being recruited now.
But they also have the Pilates and that in a room.
We'll go to Pilates.
So you two can have
we'll do
Pilates. We'll do Pilates.
But it'll be good if you did come out one morning or on the weekend, and I can show you the early morning life is different. So it'll be good for you to come and see the networking that we do.
Do you go back home to bed, or do you stay up all day?
It depends. Some days I'm tired. Some days I'm not. Some days I only have like 2 hours sleep because I'm too busy high on life, if that makes sense.
Do you go to bed at night?
Usually.
I've asked that before too. It's not early.
I was going to say like 6 p.m., 7 p.m.?
No, latest is probably 11, and then I'm back up. But it depends. Like the other day I did a pre-workout in the afternoon, and then I was up all night, went straight into the workout next morning.
Oh, but you didn't sleep?
Didn't sleep and went straight to work.
Let's not promote that one.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, let's edit that off.
That's how you knew that pre-workout was some good shit. That's the pre-workout I'm not telling the kids about.
Contact them for a sponsorship, honestly.
Yeah. But it'll be good for you to come through.
Pardon?
It'll be good for you to come through and see.
Yeah, definitely. I will, for sure. I'll wrap this up in the recording, but then I'll chat to you guys in a second.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much, guys. I'll speak to you in a moment.